It's the Rodgers and Hammerstein story that just last month turned an incredible 75 years old. Oklahoma tells the story of a farm girl being pursued by two rival suitors.
The classic musical is still wowing audiences right around the world, and it is just about to touch down in Melbourne, starring two of the country's biggest and brightest stars. Helpman Award-winning actress Elise McCann and star of screen and stage Ben Mingay. And Elise McCann and Ben Mingay join us now live from Melbourne. Terrific to have you with us. Now, Oklahoma, Elise, is of course one of Rodgers and Hammerstein's most loved musicals. Does that make it easier to perform or harder because there's so much significance?
Oh, wow. You know, I think the piece is such a beautiful piece. It's so well written that it kind of stands up on its own. So in some ways, I think the reason it's such a classic and such an incredible hit is because it was so beautifully constructed. And so that does make it easier for us to perform. But there's definitely a sense of pressure because people know this show. They love this show. And it's got so much heart, and it's, you know, such a great piece that you want to do it justice.
You're playing Ado Annie, a role that's been portrayed by so many amazing leading ladies. Is it hard to, you know, put your own spin on the character?
You know, I think naturally just every person is slightly different, so it inevitably happens that has a little bit more of you or a little bit more of, you know, whoever else is playing it. But I was definitely working with Chris, our director, to try and find, you know, some contemporary, more feminist ways to play her or bring kind of that into it, and he's been wonderful with that. But like I said, it's written so well that it kind of does all the hard work for you.
Right. Now, Ben, your character is Judd, labelled a mysterious and dangerous loner. So what are the challenges of getting into that type of role?
Well, I mean, it's always interesting to play the villain. I think, you know, villains can be very three-dimensional, especially these days. It's nice to you know, put some sort of redeeming quality into them. And I think this character, the way it's written, Judd Fry, there's a sadness about him, and there's a real vulnerability in that he doesn't know how to express himself socially, and he's just sort of in his smokehouse, in his own little world. So for me, it's just like finding those little nuances that make him like a real person with real problems, like a lot of people have in the real world. So I think I want the audience to be able to identify with that.
Ben, this character of Judd was played by Hugh Jackman. It was his first big international role in London. Are you hoping it might launch you on a similar career path?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I always think it's good to, I like to, as Elise was saying, it's always nice to put your own spin on things. You know, Hugh's an amazing performer, and I'm sure he did special things with that. I would like to do the same sort of thing and put a little bit of Ben Mingay into it, and a little bit of, I mean, I think it's always good to be, to honour the piece, but still just, you know, slide in those little, that colour that makes it sort of a little bit you and a little bit different while still serving the piece, you know? Yeah,
for sure. Hey, Elise, last time we talked to you, you were producing Carmen, the musical.
Yeah.
And now you're back acting. Any more producing roles coming up for you?
There's some more producing for next year, but the rest of this year is acting. So it's a nice, fine juggling balance, really. But it's really lovely to be on the acting side at the moment because there's a few less things to worry about. And also, you know, we've got this amazing cast here, so you know, it's been lots of fun.
It's been a real hoot.
Ben, away from the footlights, of course, you starred in Hacksaw Ridge. What a great film that was as well. Is there any more feature films on the horizon for you?
Nothing at the moment. I mean, I've been working on, you know, some of my own work with Tim Ross, who I did Wonderland with. We've been working on some of our own stuff, shot some pilots. So, yeah, I mean, this year's going to be a year of, obviously, a bit of live performance, which I always miss when I don't do it. I've got to swing on this, always doing stuff with the boys and Oklahoma. So there'll be more of this. But, yeah, I mean, that's always a thing. I've got a little trip planned to the States later on in the year, so there'll be some meetings there to talk about some things, and yeah, I mean, that's always, I mean, like Elise, you know, has just said, putting the producer cap on, I think we've, in this industry, we've got to do everything we can to be diverse so that we keep the work rolling and we can, you know, stay afloat.
Oh, you're both very talented. Ben, quickly, we want to say congratulations. You recently got married, so very happy for you. Congrats on that. And guys, terrific to have you with us. Thank you.
Thanks so much, guys.
Bye-bye.
Oklahoma is going to play at the State Theatre in Melbourne for a very limited time, so for ticket details, just head to the Daily Edition website.